Morgan, we're going to continue to gather more information from residents here in Brooklyn Park. We're still waiting for the public information officer from Brooklyn Park to arrive on scene to hopefully deliver any more information. From what we know so far from those in the area, it sounds like those living in the home were able to get out safely. We cannot confirm that, but that is what so far we have heard from neighbors in the area. We're awaiting an update from Brooklyn Park Police. Hopefully they can provide us some good news on those in this house. And we also do not know what condition the pilot of this plane is in right now at this time. Morgan. Rylan, take us through where you live in approximation to this home and what you felt when this happened.
So I live in the neighborhood like right next to it, and I was walking down the stairs. I just took a shower, and we just heard like a whistling for like 5 seconds, and then just a huge boom. So me and my mom, we both came running outside just to see what happened.
Well, I appreciate you talking with us, Rylan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Morgan, that's really what we've been hearing from neighbors over and over, is they heard this sound, this whistling, and then that massive boom, as I know you have been mentioning. We just heard from Rylan. He heard from other neighbors that the woman who lives in this home was potentially walking her dog at the time. That, of course, would be good news if she was not inside the home when this happened. So we're going to continue to gather more information from neighbors, Morgan. The scene right now, firefighters continuing now. We have two fire hoses now continuing to dump massive amounts of water onto this home. The scene has looked this way for over an hour and a half now. I'm sure they're continuing to try to put out any hot spots that are still active in what is just, unfortunately, just a frame that is left of that home, Morgan. We'll send it back to you for now. Most people are stuck outside of the perimeter, Morgan. This is an angle we haven't seen yet. This is from the right side of the home. It does look like firefighters are using less water at this point now. It looks like one hose is still going, but this really gives you another perspective of just the extent of the damage to this home. Many people, just in their home enjoying their Saturday afternoon. All of a sudden, one neighbor that I talked to heard this whistling sound. Then about 5 seconds later is when they heard that massive boom or explosion, which is how everyone has been describing it. Of course, no one expects this to happen, period. But then when this happens in your neighborhood to someone that you may know, it just adds that another level of shock factor to the situation. And I was just approached by the Brooklyn Park Communications Director. She just told me they're going to have new information for us in just a few minutes. So we're going to stand by. It sounds like they are going to set up a press conference. Hopefully we'll be able to learn more details there. We were the first station to learn this from the Brooklyn Park Communications Director. She just approached me saying, hey, we're going to be setting up a press conference soon, so we, of course, will stand by on that press conference, Morgan, and deliver it to you live whenever that is going to begin. We do not have an exact time yet, but when we have that information, we will give it to you. A few crews were packing up, but of course, there are still a handful of crews here, and I want to give a huge mention to these firefighters and all of these emergency personnel. They are putting their lives on the line to try to make sure this fire doesn't spread to any other homes. And we really need to give them the appreciation and the kudos that they deserve. We're hoping that that press conference is going to be held within the next 15 minutes or so. I know you mentioned it was delayed, Morgan. I'm sure they're working to gather as much information as they can. I will say onlookers, a lot of the onlookers have kind of gone home at this point. There are still some people coming and going. Of course, everyone is trying to get a look at this scene. But we're hoping that officials are going to give us word within the next 15 to 20 minutes, and hopefully then we can provide official word on if anyone was in that home, what is the condition of those that were in that home, what is the condition of the pilot, because all of these things, we've just been trying to gather information from neighbors, and of course, they're all just speculating exactly what they know at this time. So we want to provide official word for you on the condition of everyone and what exactly happened here this afternoon. Morgan. But first I want to show everyone exactly how the scene looks now. Now that emergency crews have mostly cleared out, we're able to get a better vantage point to the damage that was caused to this home. On that left side there, you can see what it looks to be two vehicles that were in the garage. As you mentioned, Morgan, officials confirming there were no survivors who were on the plane. Officials did confirm now that none of the residents in that home were injured or killed. They said later tonight they're hoping to give us an update
on whether or not those inside the home were either in the home when the crash happened or whether or not they were lucky enough not to be inside. I just asked an officer 20 or so minutes ago, Morgan, that exact question, and he confirmed that we still do not know how many people were on that plane. We do know that that plane was able to carry up to 8 passengers, and I want to show you guys a new vantage point that we just got here. You can see some additional damage to the home next door to the home that was involved in this crash. The siding there on this home is melting away. We're not sure if there's any additional damage to that home, but again, the siding on the left side of that home is basically completely gone. You can see the underlayers of that home.
And hopefully we can learn that information tomorrow morning. A former NTSB investigator we spoke with says the ensuing fire from this crash will make it more difficult for investigators because a lot of the evidence may have been destroyed. Here's a breakdown of what we know tonight.
METech 1 is now in use for plane crash in Brooklyn Park.
At 12:20 p.m., a small one-engine plane dropped from the sky, crashing into a home in Brooklyn Park. Ring doorbell video shows the moment the plane nosedived into the neighborhood.
The way the airplane gets into that position is an aerodynamic stall. That's not an engine stall. That's actually where the wing stops flying because of a lack of airspeed and flow over the wing to create lift.
Former NTSB investigator Gregory Fife says the model of the plane typically can hold 8 people. Investigators say everyone on the plane died, but haven't released how many were aboard. Thankfully, no residents of the home were killed.
As a city, we're grateful there are no casualties within the actual residence itself. Heart goes out to the families of folks that were in the plane.
The NTSB says the plane left Des Moines, Iowa, and was traveling to the Anoka County Blaine Airport. It crashed 5 miles shy of the airport at the intersection of Kyle Avenue and Noble Parkway in Brooklyn Park.
It's evident that there was probably a loss of control by the pilot. The question is, why was there a loss of control? They'll be looking at pilot qualifications, and of course, they'll be looking at weather at the time of the event.
The FAA and NTSB are expected to arrive on scene Sunday morning to continue the investigation.
Morgan, we know that some residents in the neighborhood are still without power tonight. The city of Brooklyn Park says they're working with Excel to restore that service in the next 2 hours.